Hello, welcome to Autumn Inspirations Part 2. In this video I am painting a rose hip. I think it's a rose hip. It's a little bit unusual rose hip, but as far as I know it is. So at the moment I'm applying water over the whole area of the hip or rose hip. We're going to call it bud because it's going to be a bit confusing. So this little bud I'm painting with watercolour and I'm applying it all evenly. So you can see I've already done the drawing. I have changed a little bit from the original reference photo. So what I'm making sure that the water is spread evenly through the whole bud and taking care of whereas the water is not going to go in the outside of the line. So now I'm applying the Winsor red over the whole area, this little area here where it's dark. So I'm going to try and apply the paint in sections of the bud that you can see separated with the pencil. So evenly distributing it, and then I'm applying the yellow ochre on the top, and where I can see on the reference photo that needs to be applied too, so around the edges as well. In this bud, I like to say bud, I also applied sap green because I could see sap green on sections as well on the edges. So it's quite a beautiful bud, as you can see it will develop, and it has got a lot of reflections on it as well. So I'm trying to be careful not to add too much of the heavy paint because I still want to see those sections, the separated sections of the bud through the paint. But because it's transparent, the paint that I'm applying, you'll be able to still see where it is. So now I'm applying a thicker consistency over the bud and starting with the base because the base is going to be darker, and moving that paint upwards all around that little section that I can see in the reference photo. So I'm following that reference photo. So because the paper is wet, I will not get any sharp edges. It will be all soft edges, and I can go over again with the brush a little bit just to make those edges a little bit softer as well, so I can move them around a bit. So now I'm looking at those indentations and I'm applying where the sections of the bud is, so I don't lose it. I'm looking at my reference photo to see where the light is and where the darker sections are as well. So I'm leaving bits to be light, and you'll see that as I go along as well, that will change. So I'm moving the paint upwards and how I want it, where I want it to go on the bud. I'm using a size 1 round brush. Now I'm smoothing that top bit where I placed the paint, so I'm just smoothing the edges of the whole thing with a little bit of the brush being damp. So I'm going over again, and this is much thicker consistency, as you can see. So I also applied a pink, which is I think it was an opera rose as well in sections here, so a mixture of opera rose and Winsor red sort of playing along with those two colours where I can see it that it needed to be different tone values there. So my paints that I use are Winsor and Newton, but you can use any colours if you wanted to do something like this, any brands, it doesn't matter. These are professional paints that I'm using, they're professional Winsor and Newton. Right, so I'm spreading that paint that I applied there with a little bit of water on the edge and just moving it a bit because I don't want it to be too dark here yet. So I'm just spreading that section and focusing where I want that light reflection to be. So I'm gradually building it up and adding more colour, but not on the reflection, so making the reflection a bit smaller as well, so working with this. So, and you can see now that I added the Winsor red, and also I mixed the Winsor red with the Indian yellow, and this gave me a much glow, so it's lighter as well. It gives you a gradient effect from the red to the orange red colour. So remembering that the paper is still quite wet and these paints are creating soft edges. So if I feel like the paper is drying a little bit as I'm applying the paint, all I have to do is add a little bit of water around the edge of where I'm applying that paint, and it will soften the edges. So you can see me adding a little bit more around the edges and moving that paint a little bit so it creates a soft edge. And as I'm moving it out, the colour becomes lighter as well. So you can see now that reflection is becoming smaller, but is a gradient effect from the light to the dark. So I will carry on adding more and more colour to this. I changed the reflection a little bit and always keeping that brush damp. I'm lifting a bit of the paint here because the reflection seemed to got a bit small, so I lifted it a little bit, but it still looks good, and that reflection is pink, is not white. So now I'm smoothing that paint, and you can see it's still moving on the darker sections, it's still moving. My brush is damp, and it's just created a lovely gradient effect, quite soft, the whole section. So now you can see I've gone ahead and I added that pink and the reds and the orange on all the other sections. So now you can see that the whole bud is separated in little bits, and it's starting to show that the whole bud, how it looks like. So almost looks like a tomato, doesn't it? A bit deformed tomato. So I'm applying the red here where it's dark as well. So I'm looking still at that dark areas of the bud. You can see now that I also applied the green, so on that little bit at the top I applied that green. It just gives it a little bit more colour and a bit more interest on the painting. So with these paints I go backwards and forwards and changing the colour tones, making it soft edges, adding a little bit more of the yellow ochre and a little bit more of the pink and the red as I go along as well, to where I can see those sections. It's almost like patchwork, so you're adding a little bit at a time. So in here I mixed the Winsor red, I mixed it with the green, and it gave me a dark red, which is quite pretty red. And if you think about the colour wheel, you have opposite colours, the complementary colours, the red and the green. So by mixing them, you get a lovely tone value that is important for the painting to where those dark sections are. So I'm looking very carefully now where these indents are, how the whole body is changing, and to get it as accurate as I can. So this is painting on great detail, very carefully, to create a soft gradation through the whole process of your painting, but it's still adding that detail. So the top bit of the butt is quite dark, so we'll add more and more to get darker. I could always mix the red with Payne's grey, and that will give me like a plum colour, and that also works really well on those dark shadows. So this section here I changed it quite a lot because it wasn't looking quite right. I wasn't very happy with the shape of it, and later on you'll see that I changed it a little bit. So I'm going to put some music for you, and you can just follow through, and I'll come back to you in a minute. In this section now I'm applying a much darker consistency again, and I used the Winsor red and the green and mixed it until I was happy with the colour. I could always add a little bit of Payne's grey as well to that mixture, just to make it a little bit darker even though. So I'm trying to make the edges a bit softer. So I'm lifting that paint and I'm moving it to where I want to be, but I'm still trying to be careful not to lose all that gradient through the whole painting colour. So I'm applying a little bit of water on the edge and gradually lifting it up and cleaning my brush. So you can see it's got a very hard edge at the moment, and I'm going over with the brush and cleaning my brush, and then I'm applying a little bit more again, but this time it's a little bit lighter consistency. I think that is the red, actually, the Winsor red, but darker. Then I'm being very careful where the highlight is. Also remembering that the base of this needs to be, the edge needs to be softer. So I applied a bit of the damp brush over the edge of that. And then I'm pushing it up a little bit again. And it's gradually getting softer. So I'm applying the dark on the top again. And I'm going darker. As you can see, the paint is much darker now. And I'm trying to create that shadow underneath the top layer of those crinkly leaves, I suppose, or what you call it, the crown or the dead flower of the bud, which I will paint that as well. You'll see that being painted. So this bit is inside, so underneath, and should be really dark. Okay, so this is applying paint on wet paint on dry paper. This is what I've been doing now. So I've been working on dry paper. At the beginning, I started wet on wet, and gradually I just work on dry paper. So you can see now the dead flower is taking effect. And I'm going very carefully around the edges to create those colours. On the top of these petals, I suppose they are, I used Winsor Violet. So you can see the top bit was quite light and it had that Winsor Violet colour. So that's what I applied. I think it's quite a beautiful bud. And this effect is just beautiful, the colours there, and it's been fun to paint. So you can see the bud now is really coming 3D, is really good. So I'm going to work on the stem. And I'm applying the sap green around the edge first. I also applied yellow ochre here and the Winsor red as well, and the pink. So I applied pretty much all the colours except the Winsor violet on the stem to give a good balance of the whole painting. I didn't mention at the beginning, but in this video I'm going to show you some clips as well of me sailing down and up the River Beaulie, which is not far from where we are. We have a boat down there and we thoroughly enjoy going, just me and my husband go quite a lot to have a sail, and we go and sail in the Solent, which is the Solent is between the Isle of Wight and the mainland. It's a beautiful area and we thoroughly enjoy it, and we took advantage that day and went down there It's a beautiful day, and along the River Beaulie I can see so many birds. It's great inspiration for my paintings too. You'll see some of them on the video too. So you can see now on this stem that I'm adding more colour and detail. So I used a mixture as well from the darker mixture of the Winsor Red and the green and the Payne's Grey on there as well, to go on these sections and make it look like he's at the end of his life, poor thing. So I'm quite pleased how these buds going. At the end of this video, towards the end of the video, I will show you a clip of my next video, which it will be painting a maple leaf. This is all autumn inspirations. So I'm going to put a little bit of music for you right now, and I'll come back in a few minutes. Okay, so in this section now I'm applying the details, little tiny crevices and indentations and scars on the small bud. So I'm using the Winsor Red for this, and also the darker Winsor Red and green mixture. So I'm going around all those edges and moving to the sections that are darker and give it a little bit of effect and shape. So I don't want it to be completely perfect. It's not meant to be a perfect bud. So I'm being very careful to leave that light rim as well. You can see a little light rim there. It goes all the way down to the base. So I'm only using the tip of the brush for this, and I'm giving it a little bit more realism. So it's starting to come together now. The painting is looking good and is looking really sharp and quite 3D on the paper. I'm quite pleased how it's coming along. So all through this I will be adding more detail and going darker and lifting it up a little bit more, going a bit further up on the bud, just creating those indentations and those scars and reshaping a bit on the edges. So I'm going to come back to you in a minute. I'm going to put some music and I'll come back to you in a second. So we're coming towards the end of painting this beautiful rose hip, and we'll show you the whole painting of all the autumn inspirations of part 1 and part 2, and then you'll see a clip of the maple leaf. Now I'm going to show you my sailing. enjoyed the video clips of the River Beaulie and sailing on the Solent. It was only a small amount of videos. I needed to concentrate what I was doing and helping my husband sail the boat. I went for a woodland walk with a friend in a forest common near where we live, and we looking for mushrooms and all these beautiful autumn treasures. She picked up this leaf and it was so colourful, so pretty, that I took a photo and I decided to paint it and make a tutorial out of it. So if you would like to have a go at painting this beautiful maple leaf, the tutorial will be available on my website this month in October. And I would like to give you the heads up that I will be making this tutorial a free option to all my subscribers in the creative advice for artists alike. If you would like to stay informed and receive these many great offers that I constantly provide to all my creative advice for artists alike, just pop over to my website, scroll to the base of the website pages, and there you will see the preferred mail option. I will also be uploading a YouTube video of painting these maple leaves, so will be just clips and showing you how the method of the wet and wet works on this maple leaf. I share with you how I transitioned from one color to the other without creating a muddy painting. I also share the materials that I used for this painting and the colors. So I hope you like to have a look at this when I upload it as soon as possible for you on my channel. And if you like to have a go at the tutorial, please follow the link below, and that will guide you to the tutorial, which should be available in the October month. So we're coming to the end of the video now, and I would like to take the opportunity to say thank you very much for following till the end of this video, and I hope you enjoyed it and found it very helpful. If you haven't subscribed, please consider subscribing. You will get notified when I upload the next video. And if you enjoyed it, please give it a thumbs up. That will be fantastic and it will help my channel to grow. Don't forget to step outside on this autumn season and enjoy it. And I'll see you soon. Thank you. Bye bye.